Yesterday, I went and I visited with a banker, and this is a kid that I've known for, I don't know, maybe 4 years or so. And, I like the kid. I think that he's great. He's able to stand up for what he believes in and things like that, and I really respect that. Doesn't let me push him around, which both annoys me, but also makes me admire him. Anyway, so I've kind of wanted to mentor him, kind of teach him some things. And, I feel really sad. And the reason that I feel sad is, he just recently purchased a home for him and his girl, and they're going to be living there. I think they're getting married in a few months or so. And he also is renting out one of the rooms, which is great, to a buddy in order to, lessen the total cost of having the property. But the thing that makes me sad is, he bought this house and it's pretty nice. And it cost him about $470,000, somewhere around there. He got a loan for it and everything like that. And he, worked hard on qualifying for the loan and stuff. The reason that it makes me so sad is that he's starting out in life and he's buying already a property that is above the medium price point. So the reason that makes me so sad is because he's not there yet, but he's wanting to be. And what I mean by that is I hear so many people complain about the housing market and things are unaffordable and things like that. Well, yes and no. If you're going to get a house and you're starting out by buying a house above the median price point, you're not setting yourself up to win financially. You need to start at the bottom. Start at the very, very bottom, the cheapest house that you can get that's in a safe area. You're not going to buy a nice house at the beginning because it's not a good investment to buy a primary home, generally speaking, but definitely not a good investment if you're going to buy that and spend so much money on the down payment, because there goes any money to invest, and every month money that you could take and you could invest is just going towards paying down the mortgage. So is it horrible? I wouldn't say it's horrible, but I would say it's close enough to being horrible. So this is what I would suggest, that he don't buy that house. I mean, I can't go back in time and try to fix it, but this is what I would have suggested, or maybe I tried in one way or another, to not buy that house. But buy and this may sound bad, but buy a trailer that you find on a wholesale list. I bought a trailer in a place called Apache Junction, Arizona for $185,000. It's a 3-bedroom trailer, and I sold it I put about maybe $8,000 or whatever into fixing it up, and I sold it for $280,000. And that was just a flip, and I did it with, a partner. But what I'm trying to say is he can find a really inexpensive place. Do that. Start out that way. Go as cheap as you possibly can in a neighborhood that is safe, and save and save and build and build and build. Because it does a couple things. When you go into a nice place, you feel strapped. And it also can take away your drive to better your situation. You should have certain goalposts or, certain goals that you reach, and then reward yourself with those upgrades as you meet those goals. Don't try to get a house right now that's too expensive. If you're starting out, then get something really, really inexpensive. And then you trade up. Don't just get something inexpensive, but get something well below that. There's so many ways to buy properties. You don't have to just buy a property on the MLS. You don't have to buy a property with a realtor and do it that way. Send out 100 letters to houses that look like they need to be torn down, and say, hey, can I buy your house? And buy their house for under market value, and then go in and fix it up, put in some of your own sweat equity. And as you do that, you're going to increase the value of the home. And then you can do that in such a way where you don't have to put in a big down payment. I just helped my brother-in-law buy a house in Gilbert, Arizona that should be valued about $715,000 to $720,000, and I helped him get it for $605,000. Does it need work? Yes. He's going to go in, he's going to put in some new flooring, he's going to paint it. And that's really all that it needs. The kitchen cabinets don't look bad. Maybe a new, stove top, things like that. But really, we got them a good deal. But I found it on a wholesale list. There's a lot of properties that sell off market. And you can also do a lot of creative type of financing where, let's say somebody has a really low interest rate and you say, hey, could I get this house from you? I'll buy you out some of your equity. Let's say they don't have much equity and they bought the house in 2020 or 2021, 2022. They don't have a lot of equity, but they have a really good interest rate. So rather than saying, hey, let me buy the house from you, through a realtor, and then I have to get a new loan and the realtors get paid and all of those things. No, you just send out a bunch of letters to people that look like they may need to sell a house, or maybe it's been on the market for 6 months and they can't sell it because they have to sell it too high and there's no equity in there. Go and contact them. Say, hey, can I get into your house and I'll pay you out your equity. You have what, $10,000 in equity? I'll pay you out your equity and then I'll take over your loan. And as I do that, then I'm able to get a really good interest rate. And so my payments are much lower. There's just so many different ways of buying a house. I'm tired of so many people saying, you can't afford a house today. You can't afford a house. And the thing is, it's not true. It's just not true. Another thing, just to kind of go along with this, people are so worried about their kids being able to afford houses in the future. And this sounds bad, and this is going to sound all bougie and all, elite class or whatever. But this is the thing. If you want your kid to be able to afford a house, buy a house for them today. And so what I mean by that is I have 5 kids. My oldest daughter, she has 3 homes. My son has 4 homes. He's 18. My other daughter has 2 homes. She's 16. Then I have an 11-year-old who has a house. And so that might seem like, oh, wow, you have all this money. You're just buying all these houses. No. I am finding really good deals where I don't put a lot of my own money into these deals. I may leave $10,000 into a house, maybe $20,000 in a house, but I'm buying a house that has so much equity in it because I'm buying it well under market value. And then I take my kids and they work on their houses. They're working on doing the demo, doing the repairs. They obviously don't do a lot of the detail work or the skilled labor, but they go in there and they're working on these houses. And I get it for them when they're really young. We open up an LLC together and then we buy this house, and it's an investment property. And then that money just kind of stays in the property until they get older, until they're maybe 18. And then they can take that house and they can trade up into something else. And now they have a down payment that might be $40 or $50 or $60,000. So what I'm trying to say is it isn't a cost issue. It isn't things are too expensive. It's that a lot of people don't know how to buy houses under market value. And that is the real problem. We're all taught that if you want to buy a house, you have to get a realtor. You have to look at the market and see what's on the market. And then you make an offer, and then they may accept the offer. They may not accept the offer. And then you go to the bank when you get an offer accepted, and then you get a loan from the bank at whatever interest rate the bank is offering right now. That's the way the majority of people buy houses. And so many people get paid through that whole transaction. So there's a lot of loss that happens when you buy a house. If you buy a house on the market today, your net worth actually goes down the day that you buy it because of all of the closing costs. And so you might lose 5 or 10,000 or maybe even more in the purchase of a home. So I don't mean to be so passionate about it. It's just I have a friend that is young, he's in his 20s, and he just did what everybody else does. And everybody else, the average person's broke. The average person doesn't have disposable income. The average person works just to pay the bills. And a big reason is because they get over their head way too quick. I mean, it's not good to get over your head in purchases. But what I'm saying is they get locked into something that's really nice that they can barely afford with no built-in equity. That is the problem. Every time I buy a house, I want my net worth to go up by $20,000, $30,000, or $40,000 the day that I buy it because I buy it under market value. All right, so let me tell you what it is that I'm talking about by starting out at the beginning and not trying to get into something too quickly. So here I am in Older Street in Mesa, Arizona. And I saw this wholesale deal come up, and I'm going to go and I'm going to walk it with you and kind of explain this thought process. So if we take a look at the street, this house right here looks pretty decent. This house across the street is going to be a manufactured home. This house, manufactured home, That one I think is a stick built, no, manufactured home. Stick built I think is over there on the corner. Next door looks like a stick built. This one looks like a stick built, but I guess it was a manufactured home at one point in time, and then they just kind of built onto it, which then made it into a single family residence. And I've done that myself with I think 3 houses. It's actually a really lucrative way of doing real estate, finding a manufactured home on land and then building onto it, stick built, and then reclassifying it into a single family residence. So I've done that a few times. But let's take a look at this house. All right, so we come in here, right? I'm looking at the floor. Flooring doesn't look bad. Those are nice kitchen countertops. Obviously the paint is, they didn't do a great job with painting, right? But the countertops look nice. The flooring looks nice. But when you're walking around, you kind of feel it kind of goes a little bit, to one way or the other. And so I wouldn't say that it's level, but remember, there's a couple things to keep in mind. This house right now, well, let me say this. In Mesa, the average price point of a home right now is about $350,000 to $400,000, depending on how nice it is, size, and things like that. And I'm talking about older homes. I'm not talking about the newer, nicer homes. So this house is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, right? So here's what it looks like in the bedroom. Obviously there's some stains there. Coming to this other bedroom, similar. There's some stains on the carpet, right? But it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad at all. This is the master right here. Again, carpet has some like waves in it and some stains and a really kind of funky master closet, if you can see that. So this is, and then you have the master bath right there. So you have your bath here. I don't think there was any lights that turned on, but you have your bathroom, tub, shower, everything you need. And it's on a decent sized lot of land. It's not very big, but this is what I'm saying. This is where you start out. This house is selling for $230,000 on a wholesale list. And I'm probably going to offer them about 100 or 205 or 210. The reason being is because, well, you can feel that the flooring is not level. And so that's a buying point that I'm going to make, or that's a discount that I'd like to get based on, the condition. Now they've already discounted it, but there's also some other issues in the back. There's an area that looks like maybe the septic was collapsed. So I'm going to have to find out what's going on over there. And then there's a fence that's down. But think about it this way. If I can buy this house for $120,000 less than the market, then that's going to be fantastic. My payment's going to be way low. And then I live in this house for maybe 2 or 3 years. It's on a street that looks pretty safe. Again, this house would be sufficient for 2 to 3 years. And during that time, I'm saving up money, I pay this house down, and then I sell this house for more at market value. And maybe I sell it for just a little bit less than market value because maybe it feels like it's not level, but that's fine. And so this is an example of getting into something early on that you can get way cheaper than your average property because you're starting out at the bottom. And it's okay. It's okay to start out at the bottom because then all you have is to go up. So anyway, this is an example of what I'm talking about when I say not to buy a property when you're starting out that's a nice property. You don't need to. It's too expensive. And I think that's why people say that they can't afford anything, is because they're looking at things on the market rather than something like this that's off the market, that even though you might be looking at this thinking, I would never live there. Well, then just get over yourself and be willing to start at the bottom. And if you aren't willing to start at the bottom, I don't know if I can help you. Anyway, just wanted to share this with you so you can have some idea of what you can do in order to really start smart. Start smart. That's the message for today. Start smart. I don't mean to go off on this. Don't mean to be so passionate. It's just, it makes me sad when people don't know, and what people don't know can hurt them and can really kind of bind them and shackle them down for so long because they just don't know things. And if they would get good mentors, find people that know what they're doing, not only in real estate, but in business and whatever. Find people that know what they're doing, connect with them, be humble, Learn from them. Anytime you have an opportunity to learn from somebody that is really skilled at something, take the opportunity. If you have to, pay for that opportunity, because if somebody is truly skilled and you can get proximity to them, then your not only net worth will probably go up, but your skill level will go up. Your ability to charge more for those skills will go way higher. Get around people that know what they're doing and get good mentors. Anyway, hopefully this video was helpful for you. And if it was, like it, subscribe to the channel, send it to a friend. Good luck investing in real estate and have a fantastic day.